In the heart of Africa's growing hospitality landscape, where service and professionalism go hand in hand, the Hotel Managers Conference Africa 2025 unfolded in grand style. Held on the 28th and 29th of June at the Lagos Continental Hotel, the two-day gathering welcomed top hospitality professionals, experts, students, and stakeholders from across the continent. Hosted by Sunday Olubenga Omotayo, the conference was a celebration of growth, excellence, and the power of local talent.
Welcome to Lagos. Welcome to Africa. Welcome to the future of hospitality. In this room, it is strong and brilliance of Africa's hospitality industry. Professionals who have turned challenges into success, created unforgettable guest experiences, and achieved measurable growth. You are not here by chance. You are here because you recognize that the hospitality landscape is evolving faster than ever. What worked 5 years ago may be obsolete today. But those in this room don't just keep up with change. You lead. Talk to someone, you lead. This is more than a conference. It's a movement. A movement to raise the standard of African hospitality and prove that we don't just follow global trends. We sit there. Put your hands together and put it up. So, be present. Don't be distracted. I've seen distractions already. Hard questions. The first professor of hotel management and tourism is here. Professor SOUQ walked up to him and said, I asked him hard questions. Dr. Belinda is here. Also, the big name when it comes to hospitality in the world, the global player, has hard questions. Build connections. Make at least 10 friends, not old one, not new friends from different countries. There in this room. Welcome to Hotel Managers Conference Africa 2025.
Adding to the event's impact was the presence of Femi Wash Limited, whose media subsidiary, Souqnews Television, served as the official media partner, offering live coverage, red carpet interviews, and podcast sessions that amplified the voices and stories shaping the industry. One of the event's high points was a series of insightful keynote sessions that tackled key challenges and emerging trends in hotel management. Professor Wasiu Babalola, SVP Africa at Content Worldwide Hotels, Turkey, and Academia with Atiba University, Oyo State, Nigeria, shared a thought-provoking address. Ahmed Raza, District Director, Nigeria, Radisson Hotel Group, shared insight on hospitality in Africa, driving excellence through local talent, highlighting the importance of investing in indigenous professionals for long-term growth. Dr. Belinda Nwosu, FIH of Lagos Business School, also gave a powerful talk on the future of hospitality, integrating global standards to drive excellence. Other speakers included Dr. Michael Pinda, General Manager of JS Signature Hotel, and Dr. Iyaduni Badebo, Director of Sales and Marketing at Eco Hotels and Suites, who contributed to discussions on hospitality development across the continent.
It's a pleasure to be here. Every one of you in this room, you are a gift. Thank you for the work that you do. A round of applause for yourself. I was reflecting this morning, thinking about how long I've been in the industry. Since 1998. Some of you were not born. And this is just an honor to be here and to see how far this industry has come over the years, over the decades. I'm going to talk about the future of hospitality. The future is already here, like Brenda has told us. But what are we going to do on our own part to be part of that future? Global standards to deliver excellence. These global standards, we need to understand what they are and how they impact us as people and managers. So the first question I want to ask, and I want a response: if your hotel fails, who's to be fired first? And we had some very powerful insights that I want to share with you, because at the end of the day, yes, we want to be global, but we need to look within as well. What is it that needs to change? So some of these insights, so here, 5 nuggets. One is leadership development. We're going to talk about that. Networks and sponsors. Global currency, very, very important. Personal integrity. The fact that I put it forth doesn't mean it's not the most important. And finally, human flourishing. I will speak about that.
The event has been very good. It's growing every year. It's becoming dynamic, and the one place you have to come to every year to see what's going on, to network, and to help yourselves in your careers. We need to look at the future of our industry, and sustainability is important.
This event is, I would cap it as a storytelling of Nigerian hospitality. Started with various events in different parts of the country, and now it has now metamorphosed into Hotel Managers Conference Africa. So we're here to tell the story of the African hospitality sector. It's been an awesome experience. Sincerely, from yesterday, we had the keynote speaker, Dr. Belinda from Lagos Business School, and she spoke quite a lot, and what actually still triggers in me is team strength and individual strength. And then today we now had Dr. Duni, who from Eco Hotel, Director of Sales and Marketing, and she spoke about storytelling.
My first time was last year, and this is my second time of attending HMC, and I can tell you for free, it's been very insightful. I want a situation whereby the hospitality industry will not be a dump of where anybody can just venture into. I want it to be a place where people that know their onions dive into the system.
Coming here today, I discovered that there is a whole lot to learn, and I've been learning. But what has really amazed me is the fact that Mr. Benga has been able to put this together and to ensure that there is no competition amongst hoteliers, but a synergy, and for people to work together to see that the hospitality business in Nigeria and in Africa is projected to the outside world.
Being here, I think it's a wonderful thing. Hopefully we can expand it to other African countries and just unitedly just bring Africa up.
We're not just here tonight.
Okay.
We are actually the head sponsor.
Nice.
So we didn't just come in first. It was a big one, so we just had to take the bull by the horn.
You want to do this again and again?
Yes, most definitely. HMC has come to stay already, and HMC is actually a big one. So, yeah, why not?
The event also marked a significant milestone for students of the Hotel Managers School, who received certificates after completing their training, symbolizing a new generation of skilled professionals ready to shape the industry.
The event has been a very impactful event. It has been a very knowledgeable event. It has been an event that we need to even have it for a week long to carry on for 1 week, because it has been an event that a lot of things have been taught here, especially when I listened to the presentation of the keynote speaker, somebody like Dr. Belinda. Dr. Belinda talked so much about the hospitality, and she shed more light of some things that we have been neglecting without knowing that that's what has been. So this event has been so much impactful, and we listened to Dr. Panda speak, and it has been so much impactful, and all the speakers for this event, they have shared knowledge.
The 7th edition of Hotel Managers Conference has been remarkable. It's been educating, informative, and transformative. And it's just been a wow. And a big shout out to the organizer, the convener, Mr. Lubwenga Sunday Ombatayo, the veteran consultant. This is my second time in this event, and I am very, very happy to be here, because here it's an avenue to express and get more experience, especially in the hospitality industry. We believe in growth, and I want to see the hospitality growing from this level to the next level.
So we are here to learn, to relearn, and to unlearn. We've been into hospitality for years, so we know things have been evolving, things have been changing, so we are here to learn, to relearn, and to unlearn.
Why we are both here is because hospitality is a very vast industry. So we see it as something that can improve us on what we are doing on our business, how to relate with people, then to network with the employers of labor, I mean the owners of the hotels, because we give them more work and we do businesses with them. And sincerely, at the conference, I've learned a lot. We've learned a lot, because when we got home, we always do briefing on it. So after the briefing, I saw so many things, and even up till now, we're still learning on it.
Okay, so this is my first time at the conference, and it was honestly a great experience. I am enthusiastic about the numbers. I'm happy about the number of people that want to actually get trained in hospitality, as it's a problem that's actually plaguing the industry. We need to invest more in training, and we need to ensure that people that can't even afford this training have the funding they need to access it.
Rounding off the conference were photo sessions and award presentations, recognizing exceptional individuals and organizations for their contributions to hospitality. The night concluded with a vibrant gala evening where guests, graduates, and industry leaders gathered to celebrate, connect, and look ahead to a more collaborative and innovative future for hospitality in Africa. Grace Komolafe, Souqnews TV.
start with, let me give some introduction to myself. As you said, I was a former commissioner of finance. I was a commissioner of finance during the Ganduja's administration from June 2015 to October 2018. I was there for 28 months, okay, as a commissioner of finance. And I had been with Bayero University, Kano, before I was appointed commissioner of finance. Still, I'm a professor of accounting in the university, but I double as a commissioner of taxation because at the Prince Abubakar Audu University, Ayumba, Kogi State, there was a chair that had been vested there by the Federal Revenue Service in 2011, and they invited applicant for that chair, and I was the successful person, successful applicant. So I still occupy that chair, even though the chair is not functioning. But I got the privilege of serving as the elected or selected professor of taxation in that university. So I am in the area of taxation. I have done a lot of researches in that. And then I serve as the Federal Commissioner of the Tax Appeal Tribunal. So it was on 15th November that our tenure came to an end, from 2018 to 2024 November. So you can see that I have been involved at various levels on the issue of fiscal policy, tax revenue generation, tax revenue utilization. So this the reform that we are talking about was brought about by the president with a view to maybe perfecting the tax system in the country. So he formed a committee to advise him as to how to go about coming up with very good national fiscal policy, not just tax policy, and then how to reform the taxes in the country to make them better so that Nigeria can compete with other economies that are advanced in the area of utilization of taxation as a means of growing up the economy and achieving sustainable development. So this I know, the process and all that have gone into this project of reform. So bills were developed out of the report of that committee appointed by the president under the chairmanship of Mr. Tayo Oyedele. And for the first time in the history of forming a committee in Nigeria, we had a committee that the president has given the power of implementation. So it's not just about recommending something to him. It is about coming up with a report which will be convincing to him, and if he's convinced, he will ask them to be involved in the implementation of the recommendation of the report. So I think that is why the committee just presented the proposed bill to him without taking this bill to the public domain. Because of the trust that he has on the committee, he just sent the bill to the National Assembly for consideration, for passage into law. And in the bill, they even gave deadline as to when the bill to be passed into law. They expected that the National Assembly would deliberate on this committee, on this bill, to the extent that the bill will be passed into law before 1st January 2025, so that by 1st January 2025, the content or the provision in these bills will begin to be implemented by the government. 4 bills were developed and proposed. And then, unlike the expectation, the comment you made that people are more concerned about the administrative, tax administrative bill. What the bill that is generating the highest controversy is the Nigerian tax bill. That is the bill that has made provision for repealing about 11 taxes that are currently existing, including the VAT itself, including petroleum profit tax, including personal income tax, including companies income tax, and other taxes like capital gain tax, casino tax, etc., etc. And then about 14 laws that are related to taxation, including laws that are designed to exercise control over consumption, over production. They made substantial amendment on them, and then take the amended aspect, amended part of those laws into the Nigerian tax bill, which means that the laws have suffered from, or they have enjoyed consequential amendment. So this bill, which is expected to become an act by 1st January, is now becoming an amalgamation of most of the taxes that Nigeria is using now. Most of the taxes, those that have been repealed, part of them, part of the provision in them have been injected into the Nigerian tax bill. Those that have been considered for consequential amendment, they are also captured in the Nigerian tax bill. And then they made a lot of paragraphing, creating part, creating section, etc., etc., to the extent that the content of that bill is about 220 pages. So you have to develop the stamina. You have to be used to reading before you read everything from the beginning to the end. And if you don't do that, you may miss a lot of things. And you may be talking ignorantly about the content of the bill. And unfortunately, that is what is happening in the public domain. You hear people talking ignorantly about the content of the bill. They just listen to news, radio, television. When they hear the comment of somebody, then they will amplify that comment ignorantly without reading the bill and understanding the content of the bill. So that is the one that is enjoying the greatest controversy. Of course, others too are enjoying some controversy. The Nigerian tax administration bill, because it is in that bill that the new sharing formula for VAT was stated. VAT have been extensively explained or described in the Nigerian tax bill. But how to share the proceeds of VAT have not been captured there. That provision could only be seen when you go to Nigerian tax administration bill, which is the bill that has been designed to show how the tax authorities in the country at the federal level, state level, and local government should be relating with one another so as to avoid conflict, so as to avoid a situation whereby all of them may go to a taxpayer with different dimensions of the revenue. We shouldn't be talking just about the tax revenue. You have revenue that custom is collecting. That bill, second bill, is saying that custom should no longer be involved in collecting revenue. It is the Nigerian revenue service that should be collecting. Custom, let them take care of their responsibility of checking item coming in, item going out, which is another area of clash. These custom people, they are used to collecting money, okay? And they are used to, many of them, a lot of allegations are there as to how they are collecting this money, how they are not remitting the correct amount. So now, collection of custom duty will no longer be the responsibility of custom official, custom service. It's the Nigerian Revenue Service that should be collecting. The same thing with all other agencies of government that are considered as revenue centers. So that bill has made adequate provision to show that they know the moment this bill is passed into law, they don't have any power to collect revenue. It's the Nigerian Revenue Service that should collect. Let them deal with their own responsibilities of stabilizing the economy, ensuring control over consumption, over production, over whatever. But then collection of revenue is not their own. And then between the State Internal Revenue Service and the Nigerian Revenue Service, there should be harmony. If there are revenues sources that are difficult for the State Revenue Service to utilize in generating revenue, they can bring in, they can collaborate, or they can reach agreement with the Nigerian Revenue Service to do the collection and then share the amount collected as per the agreement, or take cost of collection as per the agreement and then give the State Internal Revenue Service or even local government revenue committee what they deserve. So the expectation of the Nigerian Revenue Nigerian Tax Administration Bill is to bring about harmony and understanding. So how that could be brought about is a question to be answered. Because of the nature of Nigerian, the nature of official, and the way the people put their eyes on money. They want to be the one collecting money or keeping money or doing something with money. And now you are saying that all those that are used to that, they have to, they will be suspended from doing that, or they will be barred from doing that. It is only that agency, the Nigerian Revenue Service, that will be doing it. So there are some issues there that are calling for a question, okay, understanding among the agencies involved or the tier of government involved, and then of course patriotism to ensure that whatever we do as revenue collectors, as treasury managers, as revenue utilizers for the execution of various projects, we demonstrate ethics, we demonstrate honesty and integrity. The revenue agency itself, before now, the revenue agency is behaving as if it is for the federal government. And this bill that has been sent to the National Assembly is encouraging the Nigerian Revenue Service, which will now replace the Federal Revenue Service and the law that established it. It's encouraging it to consider itself as a federation agency, not federal government agency. It is to be serving the interests of the federation. And so the concern of the state should be addressed by that agency. The concern of local government should also be addressed. It should be an agency that should be mentoring local government revenue agencies or tax authorities and state government revenue authorities or tax authority, so that they carry themselves together as a team, then ensuring that we have very good tax system in the country, that we have adequate revenue generation on taxation, which should be put to use for executing various projects that will bring about sustainable development in the country. So when you look at all the provision made in the Nigeria Revenue Service Bill, they are talking about the need for harmonious working relationship. They're talking about the federal Nigeria Revenue Service to serve as the model to state revenue service and local government revenue committee, so that they have very good understanding in implementing the provision in the Nigerian tax bill and the Nigerian tax administration bill. So all the provisions are like that. And then provision have been made adequately as to the position of the executive chairman of the State Internal Revenue Service, the need for governing board, which will have that chairman as the chairman, the need to have the technical committee at the state level, and who are to be members of that committee, the whole and representation to be drawn from various MDAs and other agencies of government and federal government into the committee, and many other issues. And even at the local government level, there is a need for revenue local government revenue committee, which should be chaired by the councillor in charge of revenue or finance at the local government level, and who the members are and their function. So when you look at all the provision there shouldn't be any controversy. Even if there will be controversy, it should be less, and it should be something that could be resolved. For example, personally, I will not support a situation whereby the chairman of the State Internal Revenue Service should also be the chairman of the board. This is against corporate governance system. And then the same person will be the chairman of the technical committee. The same person will be the chairman of the revenue joint committee, where all the representatives for local government will be members and other agencies. So it will be as if the chairman of the Internal Revenue Service at the state level will become the alpha and omega on all revenue issues in the state. And that person may even be seen himself to be more powerful than Commissioner of Finance. When I was Commissioner of Finance, I was serving as the supervisory person on all the activity in the Internal Revenue Service. The chairman of Internal Revenue Service should be reporting to me, should be taking orders to me. He shouldn't be going directly to the governor. But the provision is showing that the chairman of Internal Revenue Service is equal to the commissioner. And in fact, they were even saying that governor is just to nominate him and has to go to the House of Assembly for clearance. Just as commissioner will go to House of Assembly for clearance. And there is no provision to show that this person should be answerable to the Commissioner of Finance. So something like this, I think many people may not see it. But with my own experience as a Commissioner of Finance, who have been intimately related to the Minister of Finance that time, I know the problem many states were facing as they empower the chairman of the Internal Revenue Service, they empower too much the Accountant General against the Commissioner of Finance, who should be the supervisor to all these agencies of government. So issues like this are there, and appropriate action need to be taken by the National Assembly in correcting the lapses in the bill. Then the last one, which is about institutionalizing revenue board. Okay, a revenue board. Before we have joint revenue board. Before we have joint tax board. So now that joint tax board is an appendix of the personal income tax. It's just under personal income tax. So now the drafters of the bill, they will want joint revenue board to be on its own, have a law supporting it, so that at the federal level, where we have the chairman of the Federal Revenue Service, he will now serve as the chairman of the Joint Revenue Board. Then all the chairmen of the Internal Revenue Service at the state level will be members. Ministry of Finance will have a representative. Ministry of Budget and Planning will have a representative. And you have some other agencies of federal government that may send representative into that board. So that board will be taking decision on monthly basis on where improvement should be made, how to solve problem between one tier of government and another, and many other things, which will be very, very beneficial to the president or the Federal Executive Council, and then beneficial to governors and the various state executive council on fiscal policy and on utilization of taxation to generate revenue and on utilization of the revenue being generated by these agencies. Because many people are having the feeling that the agency, they collect this money and they spend the money. But in real sense, they only collect. But they remit to the government, into the treasury of government. So while they collect, they have the responsibility of collection, they don't have the power to spend a kobo from the amount generated. It is the government that takes care of that. So the Joint Revenue Board has been given a lot of responsibilities in that bill. So when it becomes act, become a law of itself, so the Joint Revenue Board will now be more powerful than what we know before as Joint Tax Board. So this is just the summary of the bill that have been sent to the National Assembly for passage into law. Yeah, my point is that we need reform in our tax system. As a student of taxation, I have the belief that no economy can make any progress if it doesn't have a good tax system. Most of the economies of the world, or I can say all of them, all the developed economies of the world, they are tax-based economies. And most of the natural resource-based economies, they are among the backward economies in the world. Look at it. All the members of OPEC, none of them is part of the G20. They have the revenue, they have the oil, they are producing it in great quantity, but they are still being considered as developing economies. Well, when you look at UK, Germany, France, US, other countries like that, they don't claim to be having enough revenue, enough oil to refine for their use and then to export the excess for sale. They don't claim for that, and that's why they don't belong to the OPEC, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. They base their economy on taxation, but then they have very good tax system, which is just attracting minimal complaint. And the moment they hear some complaint from either the taxpayers or the tax administrators, they take appropriate action immediately, so that at the end, nobody will complain. And because of the reliance on taxation, the citizen of their countries, both natural and artificial person, companies and individual, the citizen of the country, as they pay tax, they have the right to demand accountability. They have the right to demand prudence. They have the right to demand transparency. And for that, those impositions of austerity, they are always in fear that whatever, if they steal a kobo, people will shout, "This is our money. We contributed this money for execution of progress that will amount to a project that will amount to sustainable development, not for the money to be stolen." So this person that is stealing money, appropriate legal action should be taken against him. Sometimes you hear some leaders being hung. Sometimes you hear some leaders being shot, the firing squad, because of the misuse of public money. So members of the public that are contributing this money in the form of taxation, they complain, and then they insist on appropriate action to be taken. So before you come out and claim that you want people to vote for you to go to the parliament or to be the governor or the president or whatever, you will have it in your mind that when you go there, you touch public money, that may be the end of your life, because the contributors of that money will be, their eyes and attention will be on the money. And the moment you misuse it, they will take appropriate action against you. Your image will be tarnished. You may even lose your life. So those economies that are considered as developed, they rely substantially or totally on taxation for their development. And then those economies that are relying on natural resources, oil, cocoa, solid mineral, whatever, as they use the money from this to execute project, the members of the citizens of that country, both natural and artificial, they don't care if they see them stealing the money and abusing the money, because it's not their money. It's not their own contribution to the economy. Number one, the prohibition on VAT, which you said earlier has attracted a lot of attention from leaders in the northern part of the country. VAT could be addressed in two ways. Okay, the first way affects everybody, and then the second way is what the leaders in the north are complaining about. The first way is on the increase in the VAT rate. Increase in the VAT rate. We have never had a situation whereby progressive increase will be brought to VAT rate in any country in the world. From my reading, I have never experienced it. But this is being brought about in Nigeria through these laws. They said VAT rate now, which is 7.5%, as per the Content of Finance Act 2020, will be increased to 10% from January 2025. Just about a month away. If the bills are passing to law, VAT will be increased to 10% of all VATable goods and services. And then just 1 year after, 2026, it will be increased to 12.5%. Then you have a small raise for 3 years. By 2030, the rate will be increased to 15%. So you can see the progression in the increase of VAT. And the moment you increase VAT rate, inflation will come up very powerfully, especially as you are increasing from 20 to 2025, 2026, you are increasing 2.5%. So the goods and services throughout the country, you see their prices going up. And there is no separate market for VATable goods and services and non-VATable goods and services. No separate market. Don't just feel that when you increase VAT rate, the increase in prices will be on VATable goods only. All other goods and services, their prices will go up. And how do you survive that? Nigerians now are complaining about fuel subsidy removal, electricity subsidy removal, and many people have become unemployed. Many people have become disabled. Nobody, any earner of salary can claim to be saving anything for investment. People are borrowing money to top up to the income that they have for survival. And those that have no work, they are complaining. We just finished induction for ICANN. About 3 inductees met me that if I have any chance for them to get employment, you are qualified as a chartered accountant and you are looking for jobs. So what about the secondary school leavers, diploma holders, and other people that have not even attended school? So unemployment is on the high side. And increase in inflation is a killer to businesses, because when you don't have people buying, you have to stop production. You have to stop providing services. And when you stop production, you sack your employees. And then you have more people go into the employment market and labor market. So increase in the VAT rate is a very big killer to an economy. And this is a problem that affects all the states in Nigeria. And our president himself in 2020, I could remember, when they are trying to increase VAT rate from 5% to 7.5%, he came up and warned the government that this increase in VAT rate will be harmful to the economy because of the inflation that it will ignite. That was during his, I think, 68 or 69 birthday lecture. When he was to comment, he talked harshly against the increase in VAT rate. And now the same government is accepting the bill to go to the National Assembly for increase in VAT rate on a continuous basis. So I see this as a very big mistake. The timing is very wrong. And then the policy, the idea of progressively increasing VAT rate, especially as Nigerians are complaining about subsidy removal, electricity subsidy removal. So this is one thing that needs to be looked into. And as we are interested in generating more revenue through taxes, particularly consumption tax, we have to be very careful about the consequences of the increase. And this is for the whole country. So that is one part. The second part is about the sharing of the amount that will be generated. Yes, right now, when VAT is generated internally, and of course the one for custom, they put it together and share it using vertical formula and horizontal formula. Vertical formula between federal government, state government, and local government. So federal government takes 15%, state government 50%, local government 35%. That's how they share it vertically. And then for local government and state, since they are not at the same level in terms of population, in terms of level of economic development, in terms of weight for industrial development. So they have to use the separate formula. And they agreed that 50% of whatever belongs to state government should be shared equally. 30% should be shared on the basis of population. And then 20% should be shared on the basis of derivation. And that derivation, in the simple language, is about the contribution of every state to the VAT that has been generated. And at the local government level, they are to consider the contribution of each local government to the VAT that has been generated. Okay? So at the state level, when you say contribution of every state on the VAT that has been generated, consumption is much more in some states than in some other states. But then the formula, the derivation, the term derivation, this date, that is being applied now, is giving priority to states where the head offices of companies providing services and goods are located. You do consumption in Adamawa on services, maybe the chat card, and other communication or telecommunication services, or bank services, or insurance services, or whatever. So since you are just dealing with the branches there, the head office of the bank producing these services is in Lagos or in Rivers or wherever. So it will be deemed as if you do the consumption there. And so the credit will go to Lagos or Rivers or Ogun or wherever, where the headquarters of it is located. Not where you do the consumption. So at the end of the day, you see that states like Lagos, its own contribution may be 50% or 60% or more every month. At the state like Rivers, its contribution may be about 15% or 20%. Abuja may be about 10% or 50%. And then the heavy consumers, the northern state, like Kano, which is a commercial center, its own contribution may be 1% or 2%, because it doesn't have the head offices of the companies providing these goods and services that are being consumed there. So at the end of the day, you see that 20%, if it is 6 billion, for example, if it is 6 billion, for example, so 60% of that 6 billion will be about 3.6 billion. That may go to Lagos. And then 10% of that 60% may be about 600 million. It may go to this. And then you, that are the consumers, you may get 1% of that. So you can see that particular 20% is the crux of the matter. That is the basis of the controversy. So now that this bill has been submitted to the National Assembly, then these people have saw that this derivation has been increased to 60%. 60% instead of 20%. Now, not previously, right now, 20%.
Not right now, 20%.
And it has been jacked up.
It has been jacked up.
And the deflation has been jacked up. And then in the law, derivation has not been defined. But then people have to go by what is happening now. As they go against it, since now derivation is about contribution of state that are producing these goods and services being consumed. So they have the right to just say that, oh, so now instead of 20%, it will now be 60%. And then you hear the government functionaries, including members of the committee, saying that no, that's not what they mean. They mean area of consumption. This 60% derivation is about consumption area, not location of the headquarters of company that produce the good or services. You should have defined that in the law. When you say the issue of derivation has been increased to 60%, but what we mean by derivation is this and that. So that controversy will have been avoided. Or you go under the interpretation section And so as you are interpreting this, and then you say derivation. By derivation, we mean this, and that. That has not been done in both the Nigerian Tax Act and the Nigerian Tax Administration Act. So you can sympathize with the people complaining. And then if it goes like that, if they don't correct it at the National Assembly before passing into law, the moment it is passed into law, they will go back to this issue. The suspicion is that they will just go back to a pleasing state where the headquarters of the companies are located, because there is no definition that says that it is about consumption. So everything needs to be documented. Yeah, in a society that is well informed, you should always talk on the basis of evidence. And evidence in accounting, we said you prioritize when you are to prioritize between two evidence, verbal and written. Written is more important than verbal evidence. Okay, and that is why in court, even if you say you give verbal evidence, they want to write it down and read it for you. Then you sign, or you put your thumbprint that yes, this is your comment. Because written evidence will continue to remain. Verbal evidence could be denied in a later date. So these are two issues, all based on that. And then you can appreciate why people are talking too much on this matter, to the extent that they don't even care to notice other lapses that in the act. But they, as student of taxation, I have to read and try to pinpoint lapses that need to be corrected so that we have a perfect reform on taxation or on revenue generation in our dear country. So you see, I saw provision on development levy. That there will be development levy. And that development levy will be 4% of accessible profit of companies whose turnover is more than 50 million per annum. So their accessible profit, 4% will be charged as development levy from 2025 to 2026. From 2027 to 2029, development levy will be reduced to 3%. From 2030 and up thereafter, development levy will go down to 2%. So that development levy will be the reason for wiping out other development levies that is used by some government agencies that are providing vital services for this country. You have TED Fund, Tertiary Education Trust Fund. Now they are relying on 3% of accessible profit of companies for all the projects that they are executing across the country. TED Fund, as I hope you know it very well. So it's the one that is most of the infrastructure development in federal university, federal polytechnic, federal college education have been executed by TED Fund. They sponsor lecturers of various institutions to go for further study, to attend conferences. And they have what they call National Research Fund. They take care of all the researches that are being conducted by all these tertiary education institutions using that money. So TED Fund will now get some share from this new development levy. And then you have NIDA, Nigerian Information Technology Development Agency, which is given the mandate of making Nigeria to become an ICT economy. And that agency is relying on 1%. 1% of the profit before tax of GSM companies, banks, insurance companies, etc. These are companies that are pushing for ICT technology development. So the agency is the one to be monitoring the activities, and they want to be funding ICT development in various institutions and taking many other measures which should take Nigeria to ICT economic level. You have NASENI, Nigerian Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure. So that is an agency that has been given the mandate to make Nigeria become science and technology economy. to promote local manufacture of cars, local manufacture of motorcycle, and many other things that we show that, yeah, we have grown up as an economy that can compete with all these developed economies. So that agency is also relying on a particular share, I cannot remember, from what internal, I think, Federal Revenue Service is collecting. And now the government has introduced NEL fund. So NEL fund is collecting 1% of the total taxes, levies, etc. that are passing through the Federal Revenue Service. So these are 4 agencies of government that are relying on levies, charges, etc. for them to take care of the mandate given to them. So this development levy is designed to ensure that 3 of them are phased out systematically. Only NEL fund, which is for giving loan to students, will survive. By 2030, that 2% that we are talking about, from 4% to 3% to 2%, the whole of that 2% will be for the NEL fund. While all these have been put aside, it's up to the government to decide whether to disband them or to put them into the mainstream budgeting system. So in 2025 to 2026, TED fund will get 50% of that 4%. And NEL fund will get 25%. NIDA will get 20%, NASEMI will get 2%. So by the end of 2026, NASEMI, NIDA will no longer get anything from that development levy. So they will be on their own. It's up to the government to decide whether to cut them out or to continue to fund them through the budgeting system. And then by the end of 2029, TED fund will not be getting anything. But from that 27 to 29, they said TED fund will be getting 66 and 2/3%. And NELDA will get 33 and 1/3%. That is what will happen for 2028 and 2029. By the end of 2029, forget about TED fund. It is only NEL fund that will be getting that 2% development levy that will be charged. So you can see that by 2029, all the 3 agencies that have clear mandate for moving the Nigerian economy forward, they may either be passed out or they may be taken back into the mainstream federal government budget. And agencies that are used to being independent, are going to working on target. How can they survive under the mainstream government budget? So the other implication is that as you have only NEL fund, even before transferring everything to NEL fund is there to give loan to students. All this money that will be coming to you just for giving loan to students. So this shows that a Nigerian student will mainly become debtors. And when they become debtors, will they have the mouth to complain about the government being a debtor nation? Nigeria as a whole becoming a debtor nation. Every day loan is increasing. So students too will now become debtors. Secondly, the federal institution, all these federal universities, they are not charging tuition fee up to now. They only charge registration fee. University of Lagos, University of Ibadan, Bayero University, Kano, ABU, all these federal universities, and many of the state universities, they don't charge tuition fee, just to encourage children of the poor to attend university or polytechnic or colleges of education. So as TED fund is put in place, nobody can claim that he or she cannot pay tuition fee. And then no university or polytechnic should be going to government asking for money. In fact, government may even give them target of the amount that they should be remitting to the government. Because you are charging tuition fee, you are charging registration fee. You are having enough money to take care of yourself. And then we want you to remit something to us because we own the Federal University College of Education Polytechnic. So at the end of the day, you see that students will become debtors, students and their parents who insist on making sure that their children attend universities or polytechnic or college of education. And then the universities will no longer be complaining about insufficiency of funds, because private universities are not complaining of it. They have their founders who are funding them, and they are charging fees. Some are even charging 2.something million per semester. In Nigeria here, some are charging 2 million, some are charging 1.5 million per semester, and some per session. And so they have a lot of money to execute various projects, to pay high salary to their staff. And then the private universities, they are complaining that no money. When you go, they say no money. Even for execution of project, you either tell one to do it for you, or you go cap in hand as for support from individual and organization to execute project for you. But now that you are allowed to charge fees, and the student, if they don't have money to pay, or their parents don't have money to pay, they go to NELPO to collect loan for the payment of the tuition fee and the registration fee, and even for living costs. And they made it very clear that when you borrow such kind of money, you will start making repayment 2 years after graduation, and even 2 years after graduation until you get a job to do. And then from the job that you are doing, you'll be paying 10% annually up to when you finish paying the loan. How will that be feasible in Nigeria? How would that be feasible? So this provision too is a matter of concern. Yes, for people that will look about what will happen in the future. Look at the implication of the policies contained in that bill. Okay? So I am of the opinion that to correct these lapses, they should just stop at the first formula. When you collect 4%, you increase the rate to 3%, as again to 4%, as again 3% for third fund, in order to accommodate other agencies, and you stop charging the other rate. And then, so the first year they said 50% will go to third fund, which is like reducing what third fund is getting from 3% to 2%. I hope you understand. When I say 50% of 4, that is 2. Before third fund is getting 3% of the accessible profit. So we can manage with the decrease from 3% to 2%. And then NEL fund, which is the baby of the government, will give you 20%. Okay? Then NISDA, which is having very clear mandate of making the Nigerian economy an ICT economy, 20%. Then NASENI, 5%, saying we don't care much about the technological development that may come to manufacturing cars, motorcycle, etc. We give them 5%, and then allow them to look for means of further funding themselves. So you stop at that, but not to scrap any of these agencies. So that's my own advice. Okay? So that is another important area that need to be addressed in this bill before they are passed into law. In taxation, as I said, we encourage payment of what you can afford. A situation whereby, this is my own personal opinion, yes, and people may feel that I am in support of taxing the poor. No, I'm not talking about the poor. Anybody that doesn't have income, that doesn't have profit, that doesn't have gain, it should not be considered for taxation. But if you are making some gain, you are making some income, no matter how small, and you are paying something, no matter how small, out of what you are gaining, that will make you to have greater moral right to challenge government. But if you are put outside the tax net, you are not contributing anything, you don't have much moral right to come and challenge the government for inefficiency, for poor accountability, for poor transparency. When I was Commissioner of Finance, I had called to be organizing some town hall meetings with small, medium, micro, small, and medium enterprises across the market that we had in Kano. I will invite their leaders and inform and address them You see, we are introducing presumptive tax. We are doing that with a view to ensuring that you own the government. You own the government. This government belongs to every one of us. But then those that are contributing money into running the affairs of the government, into executing various projects for the state, they have greater stake than those that are not contributing anything. And no matter how small their contribution is, you have the right to claim ownership of government. So many of them were encouraged. So I say, okay, you are in this business, you are at this level. How much can you afford to pay as your presumptive tax? So we say they themselves, yeah, they will accept, yeah. Yeah, so there was a time that we had meeting with some of them. I was saying that you are too small, or maybe every month you should be contributing 100 naira. Some say no, if that group of people can contribute 150, we can contribute 200 naira every month. Through engagement, interaction with the micro, small, and medium enterprise, you can arrive at something that they will be contributing in the form of presumptive tax. And that payment will make them to have the pride of becoming taxpayers. And they will be having their eyes on how government is spending the money. But the situation whereby you come openly and say that you are pushing away about 90% of the people out of the tax net. So you are only relying on 10% of people for the payment of tax. So you are saying that you are now taking the whole of the government to 10% of people, or probably 1% of people. My worry is about that threshold. The fact that you have threshold does not mean that somebody that is not at that threshold, who is making money, cannot contribute with a view to owning the government. I hope you understand. My concern is about ownership. Taxation is a way of owning the government. So if I pay tax, like now I pay tax, I know every month they deduct something out of my salary as a lecturer in the university. I will look at my pay slip and see the contribution that I have made. So if I need tax clearance certificate, I can go there and collect it, whatever reason. But you that are not paying anything, what tax clearance will you ask for? Okay? And then if something bad is happening in government, you see them stealing money, do you have any right to complain? Is it their money? What have you contributed there? So a situation whereby we want people to be economically empowered to own government. And then we are now having a reform that is saying that that is even proud to say that about 90% are made not taxable, even presumptive tax. So in other words, I am of the view that as we claim for transactional tax to be paid by the rich and luxury asset to be taxed as that are at the lower level, they should also be paying some presumptive tax, even if it is 10 naira per month or 20 naira per month, so that those rich people claim that the government belongs to them, this one too will say, yes, the government belongs to us. So provision like this is not there in the act. All they are just claiming is that they have pushed people away from the tax net. And pushing them away from the tax net, just pushing them away from ownership. So you are just surrendering the whole of the government to very few people who will now be teleguiding those in the position of authority. And you will just be asking for help all the time. Where you can also claim ownership with pride, or no matter the amount that you are contributing to government. The other aspect of it is this absence of adequate provision in the Act on property tax. Property tax, yes, property tax. Like I was talking about luxury asset. Those with luxury asset, they need to be taxed on the value of this luxury asset so that we generate more revenue. Those that are doing the transaction of high volume of money, they need to be taxed for this transaction. That's what we call transactional tax. So you can see that as we are talking of relieving the poor or income earners from tax, from this tax rate, we are not talking much about taxing the rich in the bill. It is not clear. as to how properties of the rich people in this country who are very small. Someone was even telling me that in Nigeria, where you say 99% of the wealth of the country is in the hand of 1% of the people in the country. That 99% of the people of this country, they own only about 10% of the wealth of the country. What a gap. If this is true, we have not done any study empirically to ascertain these figures, but you can see some sign of it. And you need taxation to bridge the gap. And then as you are arguing for the bridging of the gap, you now have a reform that is throwing away 90% of the people from the tax net. And then the people drafting the bill are even proud to say it. So I have reservation on this. If I found my way, I will agitate for appropriate correction to be done. And that does not mean that I'm agitating for the taxing of the poor. I'm talking about those that can afford. They are not for the personal income tax rate, but then they pay presumptive tax with a view to owning the government, with a view to ensuring that the government is not allocated to only the very few rich. And then these few rich, in the other way around, there are no adequate provision, there are no clear provision to see how their wealth will be taxed. No. If you look at all the statements that we're making, there's nowhere that I mentioned that the North is having this agitation. I'm just talking to you about areas of concern in the law. Areas of concern. I think I only made reference to the North when it comes to this issue of sharing of VAT, that the governors and traditional rulers in the North, they are forced to raise alarm. And they raise alarm on this matter only. But all the other matters that I mentioned, they have not said anything. Maybe they have not seen them. They don't have this perspective that I have. Okay, so I am a Nigerian first before becoming a Northerner. So I talk as a Nigerian. My concern is about the Nigerian people. And the Northern people are also part of Nigeria. Yeah, you see their position, or the worry they express is just about the injustice they suspect from the issue of VAT collection and sharing. And even that provision has been made perfectly, I doubt very much if they will complain. And then secondly, they may be having the suspicion that the drafters of the bill were just reading the mind of the president. A president who was a governor in Lagos State, who developed, people are just having the feeling that he was the one that developed the Lagos agenda, which is about making the Lagos State to have a special status in Nigeria. And special status is just about maybe putting it into a position higher than other governors, but not up to the level of the federal government. And then when you are targeting that special status position, then a lot of things could be designed that will be favoring Lagos. So those that are attaching the bill, one, they are doing that in view of the formula they discovered, which may not be, will not augur well for them on the VAT allocation. And then secondly, they may be having the feeling that this law was just designed to favor Lagos State in the course of its own effort to become a state that has special status. Okay? It says so that will make it to be seen as if it is a country of its own, even though it's not up to the level of country, but it is higher than all other states in the country. Probably this may be the reason why they are agitating. The one that you can see clearly is on this issue of VAT. And then they have other suspicion. So that is another worry that I have. The issue of trust. Trust, what some experts call trust deficit. yes, will be promoted greatly by this bills if corrective measures are not taken. All these issues that I mentioned, I did that honestly as a Nigerian. By all standards, I should be accepted as a Nigerian. Even by virtue of my birth, people should accept me as a Nigerian. I don't have any reason to be sentimental against any part of this country. I don't have any reason to be favorable to one region against another. I don't have any reason for that. But even by the virtue of my birth and my own level of experience, okay? And of course by my age, somebody that is around 60. So that person should only be thinking about what you meet when you die, when you reach your goal. Okay, so I think to be fair to them, we can say that their worry is mainly about that issue, and then all other issues are suspicion.
I hail from Lagos State, from Isaleko. My father hailed from the Olumegbo family. I attended my primary, secondary education in Ibadan at the time because my mother was there. But my religious practicing was always done during the holidays at Holy Cross Cathedral. I was working in the sacristy. We used to prepare for the Mass on Saturdays, and we sell the news magazine on Sundays in front of the church. And I remembered fondly that we used to tease a man called Sunday Boku Boku at that time, and used to run to chase us and throw stones at, how dare you call me Sunday Boku Boku. Those were fun times. Harvest, Corpus Christi. And I was born, raised, baptized, confirmed, married in the Catholic Church. But I got married to Engineer Larry Phillips, who is an Anglican. And I believe that in togetherness of family, it's best we all do things together. So I moved over with him against the doctrine of Catholic Church to the Anglican Church at Marina, where his family belongs and worships. I attended St. Luke's Demonstration School. We used to climb the mango trees, and there was a mixed school. We used to play at during break time. And in my secondary school was a Catholic school. And it's for you to be prim and prudish in life, and set you on as a lady. And I got some finesse from there too. And but the most interesting one, and the most that I can call a radical one, was my HSC in Olivet. We tried all sorts there. But it was fun and highly educative too. Sportsmanship was there. And from there, I proceeded abroad for my accountancy. And I was lucky to finish in a record time, and I came back. Did my articleship, but married in between. I met my husband abroad, and we came back home, got married in Nigeria. I worked as an accountant with USC, very proud of the drill professionally that I got from USC. It had set me on a discipline for working, and I thank God that I had that opportunity, which still helps me today. Apart from the fact that my educational background sets me to be a diversified person in so many professions. And you know, as an accountant, accountancy is the best of all, is the creme de la creme, and I've been able to fulfill my professional exposure in every species of responsibilities that I had opportunity to take upon me. And from USC, I proceeded to work for the bank. I went to politics. I became a commissioner in Lagos State, served with the present president of Nigeria. And you know how Lagos is. Lagos is like a country to other states. We went through governance. My team, as you can see, I have some of my colleagues in Abuja now. I have Honorable Minister Wali Edun. I have Honorable Minister Dele Alake. I have Honorable Minister Yemi Cardozo, and so forth. And I served in the bank as a director in Keystone. I've been a chairman of so many committees. You can say that again. In different aspects of life, professional, political, social, and currently I'm now the chairman of SOUQ Insurance PLC. When I was growing up, it was so free and enjoyable. We can take off at 11, 12, escort your friends to Bangboshe here. We go and have the Mosa. We go to the stadium. I remember me in my teenage age, I used to go to Nikon Stadium here. We watch so many matches, and I used to be with those fans, you know, dancing and waving our fans, you know, and bazaars, Easter Mondays, Fela Sports, I mean, you name it. It was fun. But Lagos was good for all of us. It was cleaner. It was amazing. Security isn't much to fear, you know. You can just live the way you want. And money and values of life are completely different to what they are today. I was with my grandparents, and we had so many tenants, and we didn't realize they were tenants. We were all playing together, eating together, and we are still like one family today. But the story is not the same again. I wish one can turn around and change it, but we have all given our kids sheltered life for the fear of unknown. And I think the disadvantage is very grievous. First and foremost, God gave me the chance, the opportunities to pass through that in the journey of life. It's not only money that can make you successful in life. I want you to get that. It's an added support for you if in life you have the opportunities of parents who can financially support you. But at the same time, there are kids who didn't have any financial support and have been successful. So to me, success is about self-determination. I grew up around uncles and aunties who are thoroughly educated, and I've always had it behind my ambition that I must be in that cadre. And thank God the opportunity was there for me and I seized it. And I remember myself telling my kids, when I was abroad, I never lived like my father was a rich man. No. I was behind the desk reading and reading till I got successful. And I passed in record time. First and foremost, I think I'm a people's person. Secondly, my educational background. Thirdly, my pedigree. And you can't be a Lagos person and don't have a bit of intelligence about how you can maneuver yourself, even in the midst of challenges. And I can tell you that boardroom politics, especially when you're a woman, is tough. But when you manage those that you sit around with, eventually, when they see that you're there to work, it has no business and basis for any other thing. I've had issues on boards because I'm female, and I put my foot down. It is the work we are doing. There is no gender sensitivity in this issue. Even in my early days as an accountant, when I head the accounting department, it was even tough at that level because the young accounting class, some of them can be daring to say, how can you talk to me like that? How can you make it? And I'll say, please, what do you mean? We need to get this target work done. So it's the work that is talking. That's not to do with whether I'm a man or a woman. So I will like the idea of gender reasonableness to be better played. At least for now, we are not having it at 3 1/3, no. But I guess we are in the region of 20%. And it should be better. You give a woman a chance, she will devote her life to it. But, I mean, when we have 1 or 2 issues from women who have been there, that should not create hurdle or boundary that you say a woman shouldn't cross. No. Nobody is perfect in life. And I want to let you know, it's tough for a woman. These men, when it is a woman having a corrective measure to be taken, they do not handle it the way they do for the men. They're in a rush to pack the woman out. You see from what has happened all over the world. So I will still make an appeal that women should be given better chances, better allowances. It's so quick to make a woman a scapegoat, the sacrificial lamb. Let's take it easy. And please, women, when they put you there, make us proud. I should remember the other women coming after me. If I make this trouble now, they turn around and say, this is why we don't give them the chance to get to the top. So you manage the situation, you know? And let us remember that Africa is still very chauvinistic. It's still a man's world here. We are only trying. So just give us, for now, our required 33.1% as per Beijing recommendation. Having been in politics, there are so many factors that bring you up there. Some sensible, which I would call sensibilities. Some sensitive based, which I would call sensitivity. And some as per geographical distribution. If it's not the turn of your section, your district, there's no way they can put you there. But then sometimes it's the turn of your district, the party supremacy decrees that they don't want to use you. What do? You have to show some resilience as a stable character and do whatever you are given very well. Excel. Somehow, one day, you'll be there. Like Martin Luther King. At the end of that tunnel, I can see the light. Someday, somehow, you get there. I was in tourism shortly, and it's not enough time to propagate the excellence of your work. But in special duties, I give the ministry class. I was able to represent my Lagos State very well. NYC was under me. Proudly, I served. And we ensure that all students that need to go to orientation camp are well registered and got their NYC certificates. It's not about where they put you. It's about what you are able to do in that place. And you do it even to the enviable eye of somebody who believes has the best ministry with a lot of funding and allocation. I'm different in that respect. A hard-working man, a man with a lot of sagacity, a man that is very kind, he has human kindness in his heart, a man that is highly focused. My office was very close to the Roundhouse, and I tell you, I wasn't surprised. And I kept telling everybody, I wasn't surprised he got a clinch that position, because I knew that even when in 99, from the day we stepped in, he's been working towards his election in 2003. So a man like that who is focused, his business is the end of the tunnel. All the distractions you are given, he doesn't consider it. So don't waste your emotions. When you provoke yourself unnecessarily, and the person you are provoking yourself upon is not even responding on that line, you're wasting your time. But he's an astute politician. He knows what to do at every point. And don't try him, because he's a hard knock. And he's easy to forgive. That bit, I don't know how he does it, but it's easy to forgive and move on. He understands politics, maybe from a young age, I don't know, but he seems to have the knack of it at all times. I think that's in the pipeline. I don't have to come here to say that. And even in the insurance company industry that I am now, I'm propagating that, look, you need to take it easy. Is it at these hard times you want to recapitalize the industry and make life harder? Yes, recapitalize, but not with large gap. The variance should not be too much, because you need to recapitalize so that companies will be solidly based to address financial issues and risk issues that we have in the country today. I studied religion for my A-levels in school. I did divinity. It's not just reading Bible. The interpretation, the history, the analogy, all of that I did. And it has helped to shape me for life. It has molded my conscience to a large extent. What I see in religion today, if I go back to the way I have studied religion, I will say I'm worried. The way we have churches established in this country now, I'm talking of my experience in Lagos State. On the street, you can find 6-8 churches, but there is no school. Education is key. Religion molds the character, the moral values about life. I'm not saying they're all totally condemned, but I think there should be more conferences and seminars to appeal to their conscience. It's one God. And in Lagos, the families, both Christian and Muslims, and the third religion, which is the native religion, we all interact and live together. And usually you find out that all of them talking about this God. I am a Christian. I talk about my God. And I don't denounce anyone in any other religion that faithfully talk about their God. And I don't allow that to affect a lot of decisions that I have to make, and didn't affect a lot of decisions that I had made. The expectation is too high. We are still a developing country. The awareness of covering up your risk is not too much there. In terms of life insurance, in terms of property, people are not still there. People don't cover themselves well enough. They take unnecessary risk. I'm glad Lagos State Governor is saying everybody must have a health insurance now. That, again, would expand the scope of the insurance business. In insurance, there are so many seminars, there are so many conferences that are being put up there now, where the ability to educate the masses, and even the high-ups one, to please insure yourself. And when I say yourself, your life, your property, your children, and see how far it goes. It is important. And in this era of insecurity, it is highly important. Just make sure you insure yourself. And with what the governor had proposed now, definitely Governor Sanwo-Olu did well. Health insurance is key. Health is wealth. First and foremost, inflation all over the world has gone haywire. So it's not peculiar to Nigeria alone. Those who live in the Western world, they're crying hula baloo about the price of petrol, the price of even eggs. So it's not just Nigeria. Let us wake up and see that we're in a global world and everything is intertwined. The issue of the central bank now trying to manage inflation, these are not easy times all over the world. They're not easy times. And when I say we are a developing country, we are still trying very hard. I don't want to say it's sad. It depends on the environment. You know, you can't just bring UAE here into Nigeria. The environment here from inception has not delved too much on tourism. Your tourism is just go on holiday and go back. The beaches are there. And even from 1999, they are trying to redevelop along the beach so that tourist activities can happen. And I'm sure they're still on it. You need tourist attraction where you have every aspect of life when tourists come over. But with the problem of infrastructure that we have in the country, you can't do much tourism for now. It wasn't easy, but as I said, once you try to be a bit methodological about it, then you get by. Because from the days I came back from England, starting a family, working in large corporations, it just ensure that the home front solidly settled. And it wasn't that easy, because you know that I'm talking of almost 40 years back. To be able to excel amidst men, you probably have to do 2 times, 3 times more than them. I'm lucky I have a husband who accepts me being what I am. Because if you have a partner that does not appreciate your ambition and your dream, he will not support you. But I have the support of my husband, and we are able to keep the home together. Make sure that his food is given. Make sure the kids are well looked after. And make sure the husband is well looked after at all times. And don't grudge. I try to give myself to people in terms of needs. I try to recognize people's needs, and at the moment of that need, I try to help. And it's a legacy I try to sound to my kids at all times. Recognize needs at that point and do it. Because at the point that you recognize it, if you don't offer the assistance, it may not be meaningful again. But if at the time that a need arises and you can do it, promptly do it. And I cannot manage people who are not sincere. I cannot. And that is the only thing that bothers me about life. And once I find out that they are not one way, I make my U-turn and I don't go back again. And that's one thing I have learned, I have seen, and I'm trying to learn from Mr. President Bola Tinubu. The way he can switch from being so hot and then swim as if nothing happened and carry on. That is tough for me. And I hope I'll be able to, within the space remaining, I'll be able to copy that. At the same time, I like hardworking. I recognize people who are hardworking, who are intelligent, and I recognize people who are hardworking and need to be helped in terms of training to be a better person. And I like fun. Now let me start with that girl child. That girl child is not so common again. At least most female children are educated now. Outside Lagos, girl child is a big reference. Yeah, I think everybody should be given equal chance to make a life, and a life worth living and contented with. Because if you don't have enough drive and motivation, then life becomes static and you just wear it out and go. But I believe that for women, don't let the men scare you off. You are equally hardworking and intelligent. Expose yourself, but don't mess yourself around. Don't get corrupt. Do unto others as you want others to do unto you. And there's one good prayer. Everybody that knows me, and I always say, my God is a just God. His judgment is always fair. So whoever hurts you, attacks you, leave them to God. He's a fair God. The judgment of God will come. Just move on and pray that in your lifetime, that judgment comes up. My favorite food, I like eba and ewedu. I'm an expert in cooking. I love cooking, and I tell you, I can challenge anybody to come and compete with me. On that level, I score a good card. But I love fresh fish, with ewedu and eba. I'm not too much of an amala fan, and my favorite color is green. Or it's green, but with that green, I love bright colors. Even jewelry, it has to be bright for me. But still one in a conservative way. As loud as whatever I pick may be, I still give it a conservative umbrella. I love to dance. I'm a good dancer. I love to socialize. I'm a good mixer, but highly disciplined.
The world of business is one filled with men and women willing to dine with risk. And when we seek African business shapers, we see individuals who have denied self to build conglomerates. From controlling over 90% of diesel trade in Nigeria, to almost throwing in the towel, then getting on the Forbes list, we present Olufemi Peter Otedola. The Nigerian businessman and philanthropist was born in Ibadan, the capital of Oyo State, on the 4th of November, 1962, into the family of late Sir Michael Otedola, the governor of Lagos State from 1992 to 1993. The University of Lagos Staff School, Akuka, welcomed Olufemi for his primary education and secondary education at Olivet Baptist High School, Oyo. Olufemi proceeded to Obafemi Awolowo University, Ife, for his first degree, graduated and joined the family printing press business, working hard and gaining experience. Femi Otedola ventured out starting Center Force Limited. The company focused on finance, investment, and trading. The oil and gas sector was Femi Otedola's next port of call. From quite a very humble beginning in the oil and gas sector, utilizing connections and networks of family and friends, he cultivated partnerships in diesel supply chain. Him being the last man to the final consumer. Challenges breed opportunities, and in Femi's case, it was a late delivery of diesel from his supplier with a broken truck, and he caught the idea. He could do better and provide better services. He ventured into diesel supply business, buying diesel from a retailer and supplying to companies. Femi Otedola encountered several difficulties securing his supply and timely meeting the demands of his growing clients. This definitely was an opportunity he identified in the fuel retail market. Otedola secured the finance, and Zenon Petroleum and Gas Limited was born, petroleum products marketing and distribution company. Otedola, owner and chairman of Zenon, in 2004 invested 15 billion naira in downstream infrastructure development and acquired storage depots at Ibadan, Apapa, as well as 4 cargo vessels, amounting to a combined total storage capacity of 147,000 metric tons. Zenon Petroleum and Gas Limited also acquired a fleet of 100 DAF fuel tanker trucks. By 2005, Zenon controlled a major share of the Nigerian diesel market, supplying fuel to most of the major manufacturers in the country, including Dangote Group, Cadbury, Coca-Cola, Nigerian Breweries, MTN, Unilever, Nestle, and Guinness. Zenon Petroleum and Gas was the name on major invoices, and Femi Otedola the name on every lips, playing toe-to-toe with major multinationals. Zenon, in a very short period, silenced the competition and almost unilaterally determined the price of diesel in Nigeria. The competitors came to Zenon for supply. Femi Otedola, with the massive success Zenon Petroleum and Gas achieved, bought a 28.7% stake in African Petroleum. Otedola branched into the financial sector and aggressively stocked up the shares of leading financial houses. He became a top shareholder in Zenith Bank, United Bank for Africa, and the largest importer of diesel in Nigeria. He acquired major shares of Africa's Finance Corporation, Mobile Oil Nigeria Limited, Chevron Texaco, and Visa Phone. Otedola has his hands deep in real estate investments, including an acquisition in February 2007 by Zenon of Starling House in Victoria Island, Lagos from the federal government. Lagos, London, Dubai, Monaco all have the signatures of FO Property Limited. He was appointed chairman of the Transcorp Hilton Hotel Abuja and tasked with driving its expansion and upgraded to a 7-star facility. Otedola has served as a member of the Nigerian Investment Promotion Council since 2004, was appointed by President Goodluck Jonathan to Nigeria's National Economic Management Team. Otedola is chief executive and president of the Seaforth Shipping Company Limited and was at one point Nigeria's largest ship owner after extending control over the distribution of diesel products. One of his ships, a flat-bottom bunker vessel with a storage capacity of 16,000 metric tons, was the first of its kind in Africa. In January 2006, Otedola was appointed a non-executive director of Transnational Corporation of Nigeria PLC, a multi-sectoral conglomerate established in 2004 by then President Olusegun Obasanjo to respond to market opportunities requiring heavy capital investment in Nigeria and across sub-Saharan Africa. He held this post until February 2011. Otedola was appointed chairman and chief executive of African Petroleum in 2007 through the acquisition of controlling stake in the business. Following Otedola's entry into the company, African Petroleum's share price rose sharply, increasing the market capitalization from 36 billion to 217 billion naira in 6 months. In March 2009, Otedola became the second Nigerian after Aliko Dangote to appear on the Forbes list of dollar-denominated billionaires with an estimated net worth of $1.2 billion. Otedola announced the move to upgrade African Petroleum's liquefied petroleum gas storage terminals in Lagos, Kano, and Port Harcourt in October 2009. Harsh economic conditions necessitated by the slump in the oil prices and credit squeeze of 2008-09 led African Petroleum to record a loss in 2009. With the world oil price crash came difficult moments for Zenon and Otedola. He was very close to complete bankruptcy.
I said to myself, I was not going to have friends and enemies. I was going to have only competitors. I had two options: commit suicide or weather the storm.
African Petroleum, rebranded in December 2010, changed its name to Fort Oil PLC. Otedola paid his near $1 billion debt and invested in the financial industry, making him a top shareholder in Zenith Bank and United Bank for Africa. Otedola restructured the business, focusing on technology and improved corporate governance, and in 2012, Fort Oil returned to profit. Otedola financed 57% of Fort Oil subsidiary, Amperion Limited, which acquired the 414 megawatt Girigu power plant for $232 million in 2013. Fort Oil improved financial position and diversification into power generation resulted in a 1,321% rise in its share price. The first half of 2014 saw the company's pre-tax profit more than double year on year to 4.1 billion naira. Revenue grew